The scourge of missing children has become an everyday hurdle to many parents in the country. According to statistics, at least a child goes missing in South Africa every 5 hours, with just over 1 million South African children being trafficked every year.
And just over 3 days ago, Moti brothers in Polokwane were also kidnapped on their way to school. At the same time, a 17-year-old Phetogo Maako from Magatle in Zebediela was also missing since Tuesday last week. We're now joined by Bianca from Aswegen, from the National Coordinator for Missing Children South Africa, to speak more on these issues. Bianca, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for coming onto the show this morning. How big is the country's missing children's problem?
Good morning. Yes, children have been going missing every single year, and it's increasing yearly, and it's definitely been a problem in South Africa, and we as South Africa need to stand together and fight against this.
In South Africans standing together to fight against this, of course, there are other elements and other factors involved when it comes to raising the awareness and really being alert as to the surroundings. Of course, it's not something that one would predict might happen, but what are some of the precautionary measures that can be taken, especially looking at the very different cases that we've seen in the recent weeks?
Yes, we have to keep in mind that children go missing for various reasons. So we deal with children that run away from home. This is usually due to abuse. We've got kidnapping cases that happen, and kidnapping also happens for various reasons, such as ransom demands, opportunistic kidnapping, family abductions, and then we also deal with human trafficking cases. So parents need to be vigilant and know about these things so they can educate themselves and also educate their children on how to keep themselves safe. We've got some wonderful safety tips on our website that's available for children and for parents. And also, parents need to know the procedure of what to do when a child goes missing, as there's absolutely no waiting period to report a person as missing.
Missing children are a bit of a problem in South Africa. Well, I mean, for any parent, if your child goes missing, I would imagine that to be a harrowing experience. What are some of those, procedures? If you can just mention a few, maybe the immediate steps as to how to go about if your child perhaps gets snatched or goes missing.
Yes, it's a terrible situation when a parent finds themselves that their child has gone missing. So the first and utmost important thing to do is to report it to your nearest police station. As I mentioned, there's absolutely no waiting period. People still believe they have to wait 24 hours before they're allowed to open a missing persons case. That does not exist. Please open a case immediately at your nearest police station. It's called a SAP 55 form that needs to be filled in. So action can be taken immediately. Contact us at Missing Children South Africa so we can assist you immediately, especially when it comes to our children's cases. The first 24 hours to 48 hours is crucial when a child goes missing.
Now, Bianca, according to some stats from your organization, it shows that 23% of missing children are not found or are found deceased. Really concerning as we look at the percentages there. Give us a breakdown of some of the numbers and the probabilities when it comes to missing children.
Yes, those are statistics from our organization, only from the cases that have been reported to us. Yes, it's actually very alarming that 23% is still not found. We've got very old cases that even date back to 1998 that still has not been found. So those cases, until a proper investigation is done and we've gotten a body or any leads, unfortunately that stays a cold case. But a lot of children might be, in those circumstances, be human trafficking victims. And unfortunately, only a small amount of human trafficking victims are ever found worldwide. So human trafficking is very difficult. Unfortunately, also, the part of the 23% is children that have been found deceased. So it's either children that have been murdered or have been exposed to elements that have gotten lost. And we need to bring those numbers down, definitely.
So there is, of course, some link between missing children and human trafficking, as you mentioned. The Department of the Department of Home Affairs in 2016 issued quite a controversial directive which required parents to have unabridged certificates, birth certificates, for their children for any cross-border travel. It was something that wasn't too well received by the general public, but of course there is something that needs to be done from government as well. What would you advise, or what would you expect the steps to be from government to prevent this?
The documentation when needing to travel is definitely a good thing, as this we've seen it really helps us, especially when it comes to family abductions. So that is really a good thing when traveling with a child. And yes, government needs to step in more about the awareness of human trafficking, what human trafficking is, educating our public on human trafficking, and especially now with COVID-19 that's hit us, we've seen an increase in cases of human trafficking, especially everybody working online, children doing schooling online, on social media. The world has changed, and we need to change with that, and we need to change the awareness around that. Poverty has stricken. There are people that has lost their jobs, so false job advertisements are quite high on the level of human trafficking, how to lure some of their victims. Teenagers are susceptible to social media. As much as social media helps us as an organization to get that missing person's face out there, it poses a danger to our children. So education around human trafficking and children that go missing is very important.
In the importance of education comes a huge responsibility from the parents' end, as well as, acting very fast when something like this occurs. Let's talk a little bit about some of the scenarios and the cases that you've dealt with when it comes to assisting families in finding their children, or perhaps offering some sort of comfort and support during this really frightening time.
So Missing Children South Africa, that is what we are here for. It's to assist the families. If they do not know from the beginning what to do, we advise them on how to go open a case and what needs to be done. So from an organization side, we're there to support. We're there to assist when the child goes missing and helping to find them. We work very closely with the South African Police Services. We liaise with the family all the time to make sure that they're updated, and we make sure that everything is done so the child can be found as soon and as safely as possible. So it's very important. And then we also have the side where we educate people. We go to schools in our communities, teach them how.
Bianca, I think we've lost Bianca van Aswegen, who's the National Coordinator for Missing Children South Africa, really speaking about some of the important elements when it comes to parents or guardians now being aware that their children or their child might be missing. Some of the crucial steps to take, as this is something that's a reality. We were first told that you need to wait a certain time period to report, but now things have changed. The world has changed. As soon as you notice that there's something that's really unsettling in a child being missing, you have to report it immediately to police.